and this is working. Yeah, it's going well. It's not going. So my life is not going well, but actually, so at least this application, or how should I say? Anyway, this application for creating episodes of podcast is working well. So which is what I was saying. Anyway, so if you are not interested in how my life is going, so it's all right. So you don't have to be to care of. You don't have to be worried about whether my life is going well or not. Anyway, so hello everybody. I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and so. 안녕하세요. 저는 건 리차드라고 합니다. 이번 또 북한에 대해서 이야기를 하래요. and so 그래서 이번 이야기는 북한이 아니라 정부의 병파에 대해서 이야기입니다. And as always, so my Korean language, not my Korean language, my performance of speaking that Korean language is not working well. That which is natural for me. And this time, so I spoke out Korean language. I'm speaking out English language, but actually, so in the beginning of this episode, I have spoken Korean language, and translation is what I was thinking of telling you. So translation is hello, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live. Hello, I'm Richard Gon is what I said, and this time what I'm going to talk about is so North Korea, and so I thought how to say so in Korean, or so in that phase in Korean language, and I remembered how to say, and which is kreso, and so I'm not going to talk about North Korea, but the entire Korea is the story of the which is what I said, which is what I try to say in Korean language, and the pronunciation of Korean language is really difficult. And this time, not this time, actually. So today I checked out history of Korea is what I investigated, and there had been many dynasties in Korean Peninsula, and so in the course of that investigation, so what I found is that so the origin of Korean language is really complicated, or really confusing, or anyway, so or really complex or complicated anyway, and that is because when in the time of in the time of the Western calendar, and so telling you the year, maybe not telling you the year, so around the end of the 7th century, around the end of the 7th century, there had been an era in which, so mainly there are 3 or 4 countries which were fighting each other, and finally, so what got the control of the entire Korean Peninsula was Silla. Silla was the name of the dynasty. Silla is the name of the country which got the control of the entire Korean Peninsula, and so in the course, lovely thing. So this time the history of Korea is not the central topic of this episode, but actually Anyway, so investigating the origin of Korean language, maybe the language used in Silla is really is the closest origin to the Korean language spoken or used in this time. And I'm recording this episode in I'm recording this I'm recording this episode in the not maybe yeah in the beginning in the it's still in the beginning of February in 2023 February, which is the time of this recording. Yes, and what I talked about is so 680 or 690, which is the era of the fighting or of the warring era in Korean Peninsula. And finally the Korean Peninsula was so in my mother tongue it is said consolidated, but actually consolidation is not a not unification can be a suitable word, but actually so using English language, so those words are not suitable anyway. So in the case of English language, maybe getting the control is a suitable word or suitable expression for in this situation. And Shilla got the control of the entire Korean Peninsula, which is a result of that fighting era or of that warring era. And anyway, so I have digressed fully enough. And that anyway, so what I'm going to talk about is a Korean stuff. So anyway, but actually, so which is why, so that what I have just talked about is not a complete direction, not direction. What I have just talked about is not a complete digression, not direction, but digression. Anyway, well, I'm going to ramble maybe. Anyway, I'm going to ramble, and I have rambled anyway. But actually, so I'm going to I'm going to shift into the main track of this episode, and the title is "The Third Approach in Peace with Korea," and the conclusion is "Many things occurred but not satisfactory." Refer to the following link and read the third approach. And anyway, so I have created an article which was titled "Peace with Korea" or "Archive Peace with Korea." So I have done some times of approach to the government of North Korea, and I have recorded the contents of those approaches and their results, and where towards those records and approaches and the processes or approaches is the article which was titled "Peace with Korea." And I'm sorry for the sound of the siren of maybe ambulance, or maybe that sound can be the siren of a fire engine anyway. So it's passing, it has passed away anyway. So anyway, so I had done the third approach to North Korea, and this time, so as I have told you in the section of conclusion, so the result was not satisfactory. So if you'd like to know, if you have got interested in what I have done to North Korea, so please take a look at the description column of this episode, so that you can find out the link leading to the article I wrote what I did as a third approach to North Korea. So if you'd like to know the actual contents and the results of that third approach, please take a look at the article, which is an article in Medium, which is the name of a social networking service, and Medium is a kind of blog anyway. And so there's nothing. Yeah, there is a thing to tell you, and shouldn't tell. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm going to tell you the outline of what I did anyway. So I happen, roughly saying, I happen to get an audio file which records a conversation held in Russian language, and according to which that So in the end, in November in 2022, or in the November last year, so there was an accidental attack done by Ukraine or Russia against a village in Poland. And so what's that audio file I happen to find said that that attack was not an accidental one, but an intentional one done by or executed by Russia. And which, according to that audio file, that attack was done intentionally by Russia, which is what that audio file said in Russian language. And I sent that audio file in some European countries bordering Russian Federation, and I also sent that file to some facilities or to some organizations of North Korea, which is what I did. And so anyway, so in the past, or maybe months before or weeks before, so I created an article. I created an episode of podcast in which I told you, or I told the listeners of my podcast that I had done an interesting thing. I had done an interesting thing, or I had done interesting stuff to some European countries, and so that is so that interesting stuff is that stuff, which means I sent the audio file of recording a conversation using Russian language to some European countries, which is that interesting stuff I was talking about in that past episode of my podcast. So if you have found my explanation complicated, so let me make a sort of what to tell you. So I happen to get down audio file, and to start with, the source of information is my acquaintance, and my acquaintance gave me that audio file, and that audio file preserved a recording of conversation, and the speaker, there was a sole speaker, and the speaker spoke out Russian language, and analyzing what that person said. So there was an event in which a village in Poland was attacked accidentally by Russian Federation, and there was a bombing, or there was a bomb which accidentally hit a village in Poland, and that event took place in November in 2022, which is last year. And according to that audio file, or according to that speaker in the audio file, so Russia intentionally attacked that village, and I don't know whether that is true or not. And anyway, so and I sent that audio file to some European countries and North Korea, and I said, and in another episode of my podcast, and I created that episode in the past, and I said that I did interesting stuff to some European countries, and that interesting stuff is that sending audio file to those European countries, and including North Korea, and the result is that so many European countries decided to send their weapons, including tanks, to Ukraine, and those European countries decided to supply additional weapons, including tanks, to Ukraine, but actually, unfortunately, there had been no response from North Korea, and And actually, so there was a response, but actually, so there had before that, there was a military training done by South Korea and the United States of America, and there was a response from North Korea to that military training done by South Korea and in United States of America, and that response from North Korea was a complaint against those two countries. By the way, so that was not that important. That was not so important. Anyway, and to start with, there is no connection between that response from North Korea and what I did to North Korea was the sending email attaching that Russian audio file to North Korea. Anyway, so please get interested in what I did as a third approach to North Korea. And to take a look at to take a look at what I did as the third approach to North Korea. So please take a look at that article, and the link of which is going to be written in the description column of this episode, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So I almost forgot to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is The Third Approach in Peace with Korea. So the conclusion is many things occurred but not satisfactory because there was no response from North Korea to what I did, to the audio file, or to the content of the audio file. So which is why the result had not been satisfactory so far anyway. So if you to take a look at the actual content, to take a look at the actual content of the third approach to North Korea. So please access the link written, which is going to be written in the description column of this episode. So anyway, so refer to the following link and read the third approach, which is which is what I'd like you to know this time. So anyway, so please so lastly saying, please take a look at the description of this episode. So, and this is another stuff I almost forgot to tell you. So after finishing this segment, after finishing this segment of podcast, you can listen to the actual content of that audio file I happen to get this time. So of course, as I have told you not in the past episode, but actually in the former part of this episode. So I sent that audio file recording Russian conversation to some European countries bordering Russian Federation and North Korea. So if you'd like to actually listen to that Russian conversation, or Russian, and there is a source speaker who is speaking out Russian language, and according listening to that Russian conversation, maybe that person was making a phone call, and which is why maybe there's only one person speaking out in that audio file. And if you'd like to listen to that audio file, and in which the only one speaker is speaking out Russian language, so please do not stop this episode of podcast, so that that Russian conversation, or that Russian utterance, or that Russian telephone conversation by some person is going to be played. Zdrost bite. Этот dzwonek об атака ноября. Как были это атака Польши? Атака Польши. Подожди немного. Да. Как мы ожидали, западные Европа, этот случай 에tat 스르지 다 자파드나이 유브로파 에tat 스르지 아브라보타리 각 녜스차스티니 스르지 에타 에tat 에tat 이스레다바니에 에tat 이스레다바니에 에타 하디라 하라쇼 다다다 하라쇼 비라에 에타 파자 포냐르 что Западная Европа боится, что она боится, Западная Европа боится конфликт против нас. Да, что Западная Европа боится конфликт против нас. Да. Ведь идите, пожалуйста, идите на следующую фазу, пожалуйста. До свидания. That's it. Thank you very much for everything. See you. And so, 감사합니다.